Okay, hello. I'm waiting to... Hey. So it's really, really nice to see many faces that I know. And we are waiting to Rachel Mason. So it will take a little bit. Hey, back. I'm waiting to Rachel. Okay. Hello.
Hello. Oh my God, let me see your shirt. Hi, it's Rachel here.
Hey. Hi. How are you? Yes. I'm so happy. Yes. Yes, I'm waiting. I'm so happy to do it. Do you hear me well? Do you hear me well? Okay,
Hello, Shomayim Ata.
לא שומעים אותי?
Yeah. Oh, they're saying we can't hear Rachel. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
I hear you, but
Okay.
Okay,
Hola.
excellent.
Okay. Being fluid.
Now it's much better.
Song is on. That's Buck's daughter. Hi, Becky. We have so many cool people here. Okay.
Yeah.
I love trying to read Hebrew, and it goes to show you how my Hebrew school is finally paying off. All those years of
So let's say some Hebrew. Do you know dirty words in Hebrew?
Oh, I wish I knew dirty words in Hebrew. I barely know any clean words. I know.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. Classic American Jew is what I am. I can tell you, I can sing some songs.
Okay.
And when we, I can tell you that when we were in Hebrew school, they would always say, "Sheket bavakasha." Hey.
Okay.
Quiet. Shut the F up. Okay.
No dirty words in the Jewish school, huh?
Oh, I need to learn some dirty words.
We'll do it in private. I think. We can do it now. We can say some. I can teach you some words.
Teach me how to say asshole. Oh wait, here's my special guest creeps in.
Yeah.
Say
Boker Tov.
Boker Tov. It's Laila Tov over there.
Lila Tov over there. But it's Boker Tov here. That means good morning.
You say shalom.
It's a good night already. 9 p.m.
It's nighttime.
Someone said, LOL, not sheket bavakasha. That means be quiet, please. Well,
I'm so excited because we've been in touch.
Yeah.
And we had the plan to do the Israeli premiere at 6th of April.
I
And
know.
then the Corona had other plans for us, huh?
The Corona bitch showed up. We call her Shishi La Rona.
We call her La Rona.
Shishi La Rona is her porn name. For anyone who wants to watch dirty porn, it's called Shishi La Rona. And she's a... She likes it. Okay, we gotta be... We have to be clean.
Yeah, you do.
So I want to say that I already wrote you that after I watched the movie. The movie has so many layers. It's your private story. It's your family story. It's the history of the LGBT and the gay, especially the gay community.
Totally.
It's about democracy. It's about freedom of speech. It's in so many important subjects in one very personal story.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I think everyone, if someone didn't watch the movie yet, must do it. And I wanted to ask you, the first question is, how was your parents and your brothers' response when you came over and said, I'm going to do this movie? I'm doing this movie.
Well, so the mic is down here. So you know what? My parents were totally cool with it, but it was also like not. My mom didn't want to ever become famous, which now she is, and I'm constantly talking to her about that. So my dad he lives a charmed life. Really, like there's nothing that pretty much could ever bother my dad, except for people being mean to each other and nasty. And so far, we haven't had any horrible, crazy responses to the film. It's all been really, really positive. And so Buck sees my parents all the time too. And yeah. So, anyways, we'll bring him in at the end. So. Yeah, it's been great. And my little brother, has been getting messages from all over the world. And I think he didn't realize that doing this film and saying his piece was going to have the effect that it had. And, people write just incredible messages to him. So that's awesome.
Wow, this is good to hear. In fact, everyone knows about Stonewall, but when I started to watch the movie, I learned about the Black Hat and the history of that. So this movie has really important, it's important lesson for, people that don't know more than, they don't know more, they know the riot started in Stonewall, the demonstration, but it starts earlier, and this is very important stuff in the movie as well. So thank you for that. Did you learn more stuff about the local history in LA through the research?
Yeah, and by the way, hello to people from Greece. That's awesome. I've been amazed at the people. I had somebody write me from Kenya yesterday, Brazil, Japan. It's really amazing when you have a film that goes like this far. Israel, it's really incredible. So I just want to say, I think there's gay histories in many parts of the world that are still not known. We don't know about Israel's rights, gay historical. I have no clue. And yeah, we know about Stonewall because, that was really important. Hi, Argentina. And I don't know about what, the Argentina struggle for gay rights. And I want to know about all of these different historical struggles. And I live in LA, and LA's really got this amazing story that these people, if you look at the pictures in that, protest, they were scared. And Alexei Romanov tells the story. He said the people who were protesting were not happy and excited like they are now. They were terrified. The cops, LAPD was horrible. LAPD, you saw how they treated these men. They actually put them into paddy wagons, which is what the police used to do when they would send them to jail. They would lose everything. They would lose their jobs. A lot of these men were living in the closet and had kids and wives. Many of them committed suicide after they were outed. It was I mean, our history is tragic. It's a really horrific thing. And so I feel like all over the world, there's got to be more stories like this. And I just told my little story, and Los Angeles is a very big city. It's huge. In America, we still don't know LA's story. So I'm just grateful that the elders are still here and I can talk to them. And I really encourage other people to talk to the elders and wherever you are. The old gay Israelis, I want to know about what their lives were like. It's so interesting.
Yes, I think, your movie played in LGBT Film Festival and, mainstream film festival. And I think one of the best thing in film festival, you really have the movies about the history and the culture of other countries and cities. Like, we have our movies, of course, the history of the LGBT community in Israel. We have our own documentary movies, and I'm trying to show in my film festival about other countries' culture and history. But most of the people are not visiting in film festivals. So Netflix, I hope, will open the door for it.
Well, I will say something. Nobody expected my film to be on Netflix in the first place, and then nobody expected my film to do this well on Netflix. And my film doing well, Circus of Books doing well on Netflix, is a door opener for all the other gay and LGBT films out there. So really, telling people about Circus of Books is basically making a giant cry to the world of the executives to say gay stories matter, and it's the whole world who cares about gay stories. It's not just the gays. So should I answer some of these questions? Because somebody
I see Amit that working in the Cinematheque in Tel Aviv asking a question as well. What was the response of your relative who want to wear?
Yeah, I'll respond to that. Thank you, Amit. It's really nice to meet you. And I have to say, it's really special when I talk to people who are both queer and Jewish or in the community, because that is, the Jewish community is tiny. We are actually very small. And I really mostly am not a part of anything that's super Jewish or, I'm in the mainstream in America. And so occasionally I'll speak to a Jewish group. And I have to say, part of my family is still very conservative and also homophobic. And not all, but there's a part of it. And it's, a part of my family. I don't know if they'll ever see the film, but most of my family is really awesome and wonderful and excited and happy about it. So I have to say I'm really lucky. But, we got a response yesterday from somebody who, said they were an ultra-Orthodox gay man. They were raised ultra-Orthodox. And, oh, my God, I can't even imagine. He talked about getting kicked out of his house. That you are dead to me was what his father said to him. And, that those are words that can be uttered from a Jewish person. I actually think is so sick and depraved, and to me is the opposite of what it means to be Jewish. I don't really, it really disturbs me, but it also is what happened during the AIDS crisis with many people who claim to be Christian. And in this country, the United States is still a very Christian conservative country. And so, I'm disturbed by ultra religious views. Of course, how could I not be? But for me, I guess it hits particularly hard when I hear about it from within the Jewish community, because my mother was just this close to having that exact same kind of terrible reaction. And somebody's responding something. What did you and your brothers think your parents did until we were old enough to find out the truth? So I thought they had a store with a cool name, but I didn't know why we weren't allowed to tell the name of that store to anybody. And I thought every store had an over 18 section.
Wow. Yes. I live in the Jewish country, so I know all these stories about, the religious, families that kick out the kids because they are gays or lesbian or trans, or even just want to be seculars, They don't believe anymore in Judaism. They want to be seculars and they kick them out, so.
I love the new films that we've been seeing. Like, we just saw some film. What was it? It was about the Orthodox community. And, I feel like what we're just learning right now about the Orthodox experience and the pain that those people go through. Oh my God. There's another one called Trembling Before God. Wow. I really hope everyone can see that movie. It's just such an important thing to look at our religious societies and those people, like, the way that we can embrace them. I just, it's very, very painful. So here, I'll answer a few of these. What advice would you give young LGBT filmmakers? Wow. I always struggle with advice because I feel like I'm an accident, a walking accident. Everything that's ever happened to me, has been amazing luck. And I think partially, if you're going to make a film, just know it's going to be an odyssey. It's going to be a journey. You start somewhere. I thought my film was going to be something just for the gay community, and maybe even just for the gay community in LA who would appreciate it. And, I really thought it was going to be small, and I didn't expect it to be this big. And I kept diving in deeper and deeper into the whole depth of my family story. So if you want a film that goes wide, try to get deeper into a story that can attach itself to other pieces of the culture. That's very important. Something that can be a bigger story than just the gay story. However, I think the little tiny gay stories are very important. That is part of our historical record. It's unwritten. And you might want to make a film that's just about, like there's a movie called Jules Catch One, and it's just about this amazing bar here in LA. And those are really great. And, anything you can do that you're passionate about, I would say. Now, this film is extremely interesting, yet the gay porn industry in the 1980s typically encouraged unsafe bareback sex. Ooh, can I bring in my special guest for this question? Because this is a good question for somebody who knows about the industry. So I have a special guest right here named Buck Angel. And the question, I'm going to read it to you, is, this film is extremely interesting, yet the gay porn industry in the 1980s typically encouraged unsafe bareback sex, and many actors died of AIDS. Okay, Buck, is that true? And I'll just say, do your parents feel guilty of it? I'd like to know Buck's response to that, because he is the expert, actually.
I'm not an expert,
okay. You do.
But here's what I want to tell you. First off, nobody encouraged anybody to not use condoms. It's everybody's choice in pornography, whether it's not. Now, in the 1980s, we didn't have AIDS right away. So early pornography before AIDS came in, of course, nobody used condoms. Everybody wants to see, orgasms, and they want to see sperm and all those things. That's part of gay pornography. That said, nobody was told not to or not. You could do it or you could not. The same goes for today. We, as pornographers, give the opportunity or the option for you to use condoms or not. Now, myself, I use condoms only. I'm an only condom actor, so I will not act with anybody who does not use condoms. That's my choice. Anybody in pornography has a choice. So that is actually misinformation about pornography. Rachel's parents were very understanding of the HIV and AIDS movement. They worked very hard to make it known, to be hiring people who have HIV. If you know this, I'm 57 years old. During the HIV epidemic, people wouldn't even hire gay people who had AIDS because they were looked at as lepers or that you can catch AIDS by just touching somebody. So really, her parents, Karen and Barry, hired people who were HIV and had AIDS. That is a huge thing that people must understand. Marginalized communities like trans people, they hired trans people. Yeah. They hired black people. They hired every type of person that within the LGBT community that many people would not hire. Yeah. So I keep hearing people saying, oh, these white cisgender Jewish people making money off of the gay community. You better stop saying that, because these Jewish, straight, white people were amazing allies to the gay male community and helped make things possible that would not be possible today if it wasn't for them. So I am actually very insulted when I hear people say that these white Jewish people made money off our community. They gave back to our community. That's what you need to understand.
Well, another thing just to say, I really am glad you brought this up, because my mom makes this statement a lot, that when she had employees that she knew had AIDS, the government in the United States was terrible to people with AIDS. I mean, it was actually like evil when you think about what they did. Unlike today, we're living in an epidemic where the government actually cares and is doing something. Back then, Reagan didn't do anything, and gay people were treated like pariahs. Like, this is God's punishment. Yeah. There were actually people saying that in our government. So my mom gave these people the opportunity to work without reporting their income, which is technically illegal. And she says if there's one thing she ever did in the entire history of the business that was illegal, was she paid the people with AIDS in cash so that they could keep their benefits. And that, to me, is actually this huge deal that she did. And so, somebody was saying, do my parents feel guilty if they had anything to do with getting people, that people were getting AIDS because they were involved? They really, they actually, if anything, they feel proud of the work that they did to help people with AIDS. Because my mom really felt, actually very sad.
Look, I know her parents very well. They are the most compassionate people I have really, honestly, ever met. They're incredible people. They give back. That's part of Judaism that I have learned being with Rachel. It's about giving back. It's about helping. It's not like Christianity where they scare you on some level. I come from the Christian space. There's a lot of scare tactics. In this Jewish piece that I have been introduced to, they come from the space of giving, of helping. That's what Judaism is all about. And so really people who say things about her parents that are so not true are hurtful.
Well, I'd like to respond to this because I'm curious. It says they made a fortune on unsafe films with lethal consequences. Can I just say something? Yeah. Their guy who worked there was actually called the Condom Nazi. And his name is Freddie Berkowitz, and he was called the Condom Nazi because they refused to release any films where people didn't wear condoms. And he was so insistent on it that they didn't actually even touch a film that was barebacking. So look up the company Video 10. That was their company, Video 10. And if you can find a barebacking movie, I just challenge you to do so, because Freddie, who is alive and well and can talk a lot about this, had a condom policy that was so strict that it became notorious. So I just want to, here's another. So your mother is a dear person who loathed gayness until your brother came out, and she gradually became gay friendly. So again, that's another really interesting point. Yeah. People are saying, my mom loathed gayness. Exactly. I want to say the film is about examining homophobia, and why my mom is such a great subject that I'm lucky enough to have as my own mother to examine is we have to look at, where does homophobia come from? Yes. It can come from the person who's actually involved in gay culture, and that's what I think is actually amazing. And of course, it was horrific for me. I didn't like that. I hated that aspect of my mother. I really wanted to investigate it. And that's why this film is something that so many people who are still to this day homophobic can look at. And I'm really actually glad that my mom revealed the depth of her homophobia, because that, to me, was the thing that she is doing penance for to this day. She talks about it. She said, I was a homophobic asshole. Yes. And that's really important for people who are religious to hear. She is a religious person. And Christians, Muslims, Jews who are religious and struggling see a Karen Mason, turn it around and say, wow, okay, obviously the Bible has to be something that is wrong, because my gay kid is too fucking awesome for me to just look at this Bible and think I need to believe this. And for all those people that have exiled their gay children, I really pray that they watch this movie and look at the Bible differently. It's really the most amazing moment in the film for me, too. Why are we looking at this ancient text that was translated in a million different languages in this one way? This condemns homosexuality. Why? It's totally weird. There's a million different things in the Bible you can look at, but they focus on this one thing that's going to destroy a group of people. I find that really shocking, and I think it points to culture. I think it points to something in our culture that really can't stand, the pain and weirdness that is inside of us when it's different. I don't know. That's for people smarter than me, like Buck, like other people, to help examine. But you do this every day.
It's what this movie will do. Yeah, it's what this movie will do. It will open up the hearts of people who have been homophobic, who believe that religion tells you to do all these things when that's not true. Everybody interprets things differently, and you're allowed to do that. Number 3, it will set homosexual people free from worrying about what other people think about us. This movie will change. I mean, I've already seen so many letters written to Rachel from people who are straight, conservative, like not okay with homosexuality, saying, "Oh my God, you changed my mind." That is all you need to hear.
And I've had some people write and say they finally felt like they could come out to their own mother because they saw how my mom figured out a way through her religion. So that's why I'm so glad she says I was a homophobic person, because, you know, people watching can see, you know what, I'm scared of coming out to my mother. Okay, did I ever come out to your parents? So I always say, you know, look at me. I've always been the artist. I've always been the weirdo. I brought a girl to prom who's, you know, it's just this funny thing. And I think I got a free pass for 2 reasons. I personally am not part of the, I don't know if it's an agenda, but I do believe that not everybody has to come out. I think some people do it, and that's what they need to do. And I'm happy for everyone who wants to come out. I came out as a weirdo, and that was my thing, and I wasn't going to follow rules, you know. So I personally my parents were more shocked if I ever dated a cisgendered man. You know, that was more unusual. Really, you know. So, yeah, I never came out to my parents. I'm just queer. They knew it from the day I was born, I think. But I will say, the Bible doesn't judge women. And when my mom had to deal with my brother being gay, she had just come off of the AIDS epidemic. Who were the people that died? Not women, men. Yes. And so when she had that feeling that the Bible was condemning her, I don't know that she would have felt that way about me. The Bible says, "Thou shalt not lie down with another man." How many lesbians came to this store? You know, they had lesbian clerks, and they had a couple butch lesbian employees. And I think that there definitely were some lesbians, but it is not a lesbian story. And so I'm seeing some questions here about lesbians, and I'm really grateful that you're asking me them, because I can tell you, this is a really gay male-focused story. And I really, really, really wanted to, highlight that this is actually this piece of our culture. And I think it's important to have films that focus on different aspects of our culture, like Jules Catch One. That was a really important Black lesbian who owned that place that was very important for lesbians of color in Los Angeles. So I'll try to answer some more of these. TLVFest, how is the panorama for LGBTs within the Jewish community? I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means, Yair? Maybe you can say. I'm not that well versed. You can answer that.
In Tel Aviv, Tel Aviv, it's very open wide. It's very open to LGBT people. You know, Tel Aviv, it's like West Hollywood or New York. It's different from Israel. Tel Aviv, it's very open. Everything is, you know, back and say people, gay people kiss in the streets, holding hands. But it's very open city for LGBT people. Israel, it's a different story. The country I live, it's not Tel Aviv. It's very more conservative. You can see what's going on in our government right now, that it's very conservative. So Tel Aviv, and it's very fun and happy, but the rest of the country, we need to work very hard to change it. And one of the things we are doing in TLVFest, we are showing movies outside of Tel Aviv, in Jerusalem, in Haifa, even in kibbutzim and small villages. So we bring queer culture outside of the city, the big city, to other cities and villages and kibbutzim. It's a small change, but I hope one day Israel will be like Tel Aviv.
Wow, you know, it's so amazing because most people, myself included, don't have a clue about Israel. I don't know anything about it. I'm a Jewish person, and I did one of those ridiculous tours where you go and you're 18 and you see like the main places. But, you know, the culture of Israel is so fascinating, and I think we have it all wrong in our mind here in the U.S. But I wanted to respond to one of these beautiful questions. Two. One person said this, and I think it would be cool to bring in my man, Buck Angel, right here on both of these, because he's so good at this dialogue. So one person said, well, people don't take it quite as seriously when women come out. That's one question. Let's respond to that. And the second question, was there a trans following at the store? Did trans people have a presence in the store? And I'm going to say one thing, and then I'm going to pivot to Buck. So the store was there when there was just gay, and trans was part of the gay community. There was nothing else. And, you know, Buck was in the store. That's where I actually found a magazine that had him in it, and the store actually carried his material, and there was like nothing else. There actually was no, you know, when you say what kind of trans products were there was nothing. It was just Buck. Buck paved the way, right? Yeah. But you paved the way for the entirety of it. So now I'll ask Buck those two questions about are women taken less seriously when they come out, and then
come out as gay?
Yeah. Because somebody said that.
I don't think women are, and that's a really blanket statement. I don't necessarily think that's true. Now, of course, it can be from situation to situation, but I do think men coming out, and we were having this conversation earlier, I do think that gay men have on some level a harder time in the world coming out because of masculinity and this idea that we have to be men and men don't fuck each other and all of these things that men really, when women are gay together and have these things, men sort of fetishize it on some level.
It's not a threat.
So it's not a threat to masculinity or male, and I think a lot of times that's why gay men have a much more difficult time coming out, and they really have a harder time with themselves. That said, the trans question, her family hired transgender women who didn't pass, the women who don't get hired because they look like a man possibly to some people. And this is a really big, important part of the story. They hire people that would never get a job anywhere else because of the way they look. So you must understand how powerful that is. And I'll never forget, as a young queer lesbian dyke, walking into that store and seeing a woman named Dolly. Mm-hmm. And Dolly was one of those women who had a very deep voice. She was, you know, a woman, but sometimes people would look at you like, are you a man or a woman? And Dolly was a badass. Yeah. And Dolly was one of the best employees, I think.
She was a Vietnam War veteran.
Yes.
And she was, my parents introduced us as kids, and she said, this is Dolly. And they never said, this is Dolly, and she has a male voice.
But they called her she. Before anybody knew about pronouns and misgendering and all of this shit, they called her she. That said, they also carried my products. No people would carry Buck Angel, the man with the pussy. Nobody would touch it in pornography. They were the first to carry my products. And that's where Rachel actually saw me like 20 years ago. But again, people must understand, stop trying to vilify it. There are some people out there vilifying these people because they did this or this that you don't like. It's not about you. This is not your fucking story, and it's not about you. This is a story about a family that made it through to create something that changed the world. This movie will change. It makes me want to cry because this movie will change the world. And when people say the things they say about a beautiful family that literally created a space for gay men to have a safe haven, and you, as gay people are saying things like, oh, they just made money. I hate that more than anything, because you don't even know how much money these people give back to our community.
Buck Angel, everybody. No, you know, I will say this. We have a problem in the queer community right now. And Buck is on the receiving end of the most insane shit I've ever seen. And I'm just going to say it because when I met Buck, he was somebody who I was like, oh my God, I want to send this movie to Buck Angel. Remember, I really just said, would you be willing to come to Outfest? You're a hero. You're somebody in the porn world who changed the world. And I actually had asked him to include an essay in a book, and I was like, wow, I was just honored. So, you know, yes, Buck does rock. People need to know. Buck really...
People need to stop talking about stuff they don't know.
Well, so
I know, I'm 57. A lot of these young generational gays, they don't know shit. And when they say things like that, they need to stop it, because this movie shows the reason why they have the things they have today. Youngsters have all of the freedom to do the things they have today.
Yeah.
We did not have that.
Yeah.
We had to sneak around in back alleys and do blowjobs and have sex with people because we were shamed as gay men. This is what you need to see. Sit down, youngsters, and listen to what we're saying. This is your history of your gay history that enabled you to have your Instagram feed and show yourself off and be proud of being gay, which is exactly the point of Circus of Books. It is a historical film showing the reason why we get to be proud LGBT people today.
Yes, and the thing I was about to say, which is so incredible to me, and I think it's very important for everyone to hear, is when you say "okay, boomer" to a elder in the gay community, you're a fucking piece of shit because you don't. I mean, really, anyone who says that is so insane. And I can't even believe the language. People get mad at things Buck said on the internet.
Yeah.
Now, as you can all see, Buck is a very passionate person.
Very passionate.
And that's awful. And we can have different opinions. Wow. Newsflash. We're not all the same because we're people. We're different. So, and how many, when you have two Jews in a room, you have three opinions. Did you know that? Yeah. So Buck is Jewish. I'll say it right here in the TLVFest. You're Jewish by proxy.
I'm a Jew now.
Yeah.
Honorary Jew.
Right? Oh, Yair, can you christen him a Jew?
For me, no.
Baptized now.
You're officially honorary Jew. You already got the honorary of TLVFest, now you're honorary Jew too.
Heard it, world. It's real.
I want to ask a few stuff about that I discovered in the movie.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
Back. I only through the movie I discovered that Jeff Stryker is gay to pay.
Oh.
I didn't know that. So this is something totally new for me,
Wow. I'll say, I'm gonna say very little about Jeff Stryker here because there's a possibility that you'll find out a lot more about Jeff Stryker in the coming years. Who knows? I've learned a lot about Jeff Stryker, and I think he reveals something about gay culture. Just simply, learning about him has been a fascinating thing. We are going back to the closet with all apps, online intersection. There's almost no more LGBT places to actually go and visit and be out. You know what? That's actually a very good point I'm reading about. Yeah, right there. So totally, yeah, there's no more LGBT places to visit and go out. And that's why films like this matter. It's documenting a historical place. Instagram is kind of amazing on the one hand because you can connect with Buck. You can connect and say, hey, I'm so grateful to meet you. But at the same time, these stores were vital. They actually existed when there was nothing.
Nothing. This is the thing you must, as a young dyke, lesbian woman who really wanted to be a man, I would go into Circus of Books and look at all the old school magazines like Blue Boy, I think Hand Jobs, what were some of the other?
Mandate.
And I would just look at the beautiful, amazing men and dream of being one of those men today. And I became one of those men. But if I didn't have the opportunity to look at beautiful male sexuality and bodies, I don't think that it actually would have helped me become the best gay man I am today. Seriously, I'm not kidding. So this is the thing youngsters take for granted. You just go on the internet now,
right,
and you punch in gay porn, and there's a shit ton of it for you.
On your phone.
We didn't have that opportunity. We had to find bookstores like Circus of Books.
Yeah.
So really understand the real important, powerful message behind that. You kids have such a privilege of looking at porn today without anybody saying anything to you. We did not have that opportunity.
Yeah. It's a privilege when you think about it. Yeah, and I think that's where the elders come in. They have to remind people because you don't remember, and also people have to be reminded of what happened in the AIDS crisis. I keep meeting people that just simply don't know about it. A question for Buck. How do you think we can create places like this store in this day and age? That is a great question.
It's a great question.
What do you think?
So I think what we need to do is make a website, sort of maybe something historical where you can go in and look at the archives of these magazines and you can do all these things.
You know,
the AIDS Memorial.
Yes, AIDS Memorial Project.
AIDS Memorial Project here on Instagram.
He's a friend of both of ours,
Yeah.
AIDS Memorial Project. And I think, when we both found him accidentally and we saw it, and I remember when I first saw it, it was like a few years ago, and I thought, oh my God, we haven't mourned these people collectively. We have not mourned the collective loss of these people, these men. They were mostly men, but there are others, there are women for sure, and other people, but we haven't mourned their loss. We all lost so many people so quickly, just kind of like what's happening right now. It's very weird, but it was a gay loss, and the gays were not treated like regular people. They were forced out of society. And I was too young to know it. So I was a kid and I saw these beautiful clerks who I thought were great and funny, and then they would die. And my mom would just say, oh yeah, well, sorry, he died and this person died. But Buck knew those people, and they were beautiful, creative people. I mean, the arts lost a generation. They really were the most creative, amazing people in the 80s when cool stuff was happening.
And she highlights a lot of the gay porn stars who died of AIDS.
Yeah.
You must understand, these men died doing a job they love doing.
Yeah.
I love doing porn.
Yeah.
I could die from doing porn. Do you realize that? It is fucked up, and it's sick that we actually have to highlight gay porn stars who died of AIDS, and yet nobody even talks about it because they're just gay porn stars. Like, if their chosen profession is some kind of fucked up thing, that's what we need to stop doing, is stigmatizing our own group of people who choose to deal with our sexuality in a way that makes them hot and happy, and we are shaming people in gay porn. That is not okay. It is a form of activism. It is a form of love. It is a form of self-acceptance. It is a form of helping young gay men know that they are okay, and it is okay to feel the way I feel sexually in my body. That's what porn does.
Yeah, I look at that porn as activism. I mean,
Activism.
And I look at those men, and it really as activists and heroes.
Yes.
And that's why I wrote to the AIDS Memorial Project. I wrote to Stuart. His name is Stuart.
Yeah.
I said, can you please share with me some of the people that I need to highlight in my movie? He immediately sent over Al Parker. He sent over Karen Dior. These are people who really mattered. And, somebody else said just now that COVID is not the first pandemic since AIDS, and that's absolutely true. There have been Ebola outbreaks, SARS. There were really important outbreaks, but now the entire world is feeling this one outbreak. Imagine how it felt when a small community of people who are already marginalized was getting hit so hard and nobody fucking cared.
Nobody cared.
Buck was there, and those were his
Does that
friends.
happen to Jewish people? Does that happen to Jewish people daily? You get attacked daily for being Jewish. I see it more than ever being attached to Rachel. The anti-Semitism in this world is insane. I had no clue. And I'm actually disgusted at the way we attack marginalized people. We attack people because we don't like their choice of religion or we don't like their choice of sexuality. The way we attack people because of our own insecurities is fucked up. And that's the other thing this movie will open up. It has such a mix of things that literally all the things that we talk about that people attack us, that movie touches on.
And I'm really grateful, I have to say, that this movie is going out so widely in the world because, it's interesting to be a Jewish person in America right now. I have to say, this is a fucking weird time. America is in a shithole, okay? Everyone knows that. I'm talking to someone in Israel.
Drink bleach.
I mean, really. Actually, can I tell them about your parents? Okay, no, but we have Trump supporters in our own families. Both of us do. Okay? I mean, wow, and Trump has Jewish people in his cabinet.
Shame on them.
Okay, these are anti-Semitic Nazis in the White House.
Yep.
They are actual Nazis. They are so sick, so racist. They're turning back the laws that we fought for, and this is America. So, okay, let's just say it right now. We're in a weird fucking place. And Buck is, a hero.
They closed the borders.
Yeah.
They've closed all the borders of America. You are not allowed to come in here yet. You're not allowed to come in here.
It's a scary
That is scary. That is very scary. We are getting very close to some weird shit.
And I think as a Jewish person living in America, I'm here because America opened its doors for my ancestors. And Jews right here have been starting organizations called Never Again Action, literally to remind people about the Holocaust and say, you know what? We have concentration camps on our borders right now in our country. Jews need to be the ones sounding the alarm, and they are, thank God. And I have to say, yes, there's a lot of anti-Semitism all over the place, but I didn't ever really feel it. I feel it more now because of the Trump people. You have to believe these people are just in our government. Not every criticism of Israel or Judaism is anti-Semitic, and not every criticism of certain trans and gay culture is homophobic. Bucks should tolerate pluralism. Okay, it's about freedom of speech, Okay, well,
of course it is.
Wait, can I just? Okay, I want to defend Buck here.
You don't need to defend.
But no, Buck does tolerate pluralism, but Buck gets mad, and I love when Buck gets mad, and he tolerates a lot of things. So, this is the same person.
It's my opinion. Okay. I don't care if you like it or not.
And
it doesn't matter to me. I don't need your validation, and you can say whatever you want. That's actually, I love that.
We like conflict.
But the situation is, I don't care what you think about me.
Yeah.
I don't care what you think about the way I speak about things. It's the way I do it. You are more welcome to speak about the way you do. And don't tell me how to act.
Yes, and I want to say, not every criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic. I totally believe it because I'm the most critical of Israel sometimes. And my mom, when I've criticized Israel, has said to me, if you criticize Israel, you're denying all the memory of all the Jews that ever died in the Holocaust. True words. Karen Mason, and I said to her, actually, Mom, I think I have a right to criticize Israel because I know a lot of Israelis who I fucking love who are actually struggling out there. So why don't you try living in Israel and then actually say those words? And I think Americans should keep our mouths shut on some level when we talk about global politics and anywhere in the world. But we can say, look, I would love to see Israel change. I would love that. And I know so many beautiful Israelis who would also like to see some change happening in Israel. And I think, anyways, these are important things we're talking about here. So,
I think this guy, the Advagad, it's just, is he writing,
oh, this one person?
Yeah. Just ignore. Let's ignore.
Throws things.
Who cares?
But I love all these people. I don't know if the situation about U.S., but New Zealand closes borders because of COVID, and it worked out there. No, and we know what? There is some truth to closing borders for a time being, I guess. But who knows?
I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree, but that's okay. Yeah. I disagree with you. Once you start doing things like taking away people's right to say what they want to say, once you start taking people's right to travel freely in the world, this is the United States of America. It is not Nazi Germany. I disagree with you. If I don't want to travel, I don't want to travel, and I won't. But if I want to travel, I want to be able to travel. So why should my government tell me I cannot travel? I'm in disagreement with you.
I want to show you a cool thing. Look at this. A person wrote this. In Hebrew, there's a word for holy anger, and that's what you have. And it's called, anger. What is that word? Karon Kodesh. And it's, what did you say there, Yair? What does that mean? It's a cool word because I actually think Buck does have that.
I do. I get very passionate about my beliefs. I'm not saying I'm perfect and I'm the best. It's just my beliefs. People need to understand that always. I'm very passionate about the way I speak.
So now there's a Hebrew word for it.
But it doesn't mean I'm right. It just means I'm
you're Jewish.
Let's ignore it. Yes. So I understood there is a hint about your striker next project, maybe.
Hint. Oh my God.
Okay. Now, I know you. When you was a kid, you went to the synagogue with your parents. It was a time of. I can tell you that I had the same experience, but me and my brother is gay too. We stayed in when we was young. After a few years, every Saturday going to the synagogue. We are not going anymore. We said to my mother and my grandma, we are not going anymore to the synagogue. Saturday, it's fun day for us. We don't want to go anymore to the synagogue. Did you have the same experience? Did you did something like this?
You know, I had an experience where I started to get really pissed off and angry myself without even knowing my brother was gay. I didn't like the things that said they were against what I was living in my life. You know, I went to school in a very secular school where there were hardly any Jews at all. I was called a public school in the U.S., and there weren't hardly any white kids in my school. So my mom said, you know, all I want for you, Rachel, is for you to marry a Jew and have Jewish kids, and that's all I want for your brothers is just marry Jewish. And, you know, and I would say, well, okay, I hardly know any Jews. And where am I going to find them? In Hebrew school? I hate these kids. They're from Beverly Hills. Like, I went to Hebrew school in Beverly Hills, and I hated the Beverly Hills Jewish kids. So, you know, I had this feeling of like, it doesn't make any sense to me that I have to do this thing. And also, there were things in the Bible that made absolutely no sense. You know, it didn't align with my reality. You know, it just, like the biblical line of thou shalt not lie down with another line. I really thought it was ridiculous that these things were governing my life. So at a certain point, I just rebelled against all of it. I do have to say, I always found culture interesting. I found the reality of Jewish culture interesting. And that was something I appreciated, and I still appreciate, because Jews are a minority. Jews were enslaved. Jews went through the Holocaust. Jews suffered as a people. That's history. That's reality. Whether or not I believe the Bible doesn't matter. I mean, Jews were forced into a horrible situation, and I just felt some sense of pride that, wow, we survived. You know, this is a crazy situation. How did these Jews survive? Okay, Rachel, we want a 10-season, 23 episodes each in Netflix. I'm talking right now. Have you ever considered directing porn yourself? Wow, that's a cool question. You know what? Oh, wait, Jackie Beat said your family story should become a scripted comedic television show. Yes, right? Buck is friends with Jackie Beat. I love it, of course. Did I consider directing porn? You know what? I have a script that I really want to do, and I wanted to feature Buck, and it's not exactly a hardcore porn, but it has some amazing sex scenes in it, so yeah. Okay.
Nice.
I put that into the universe just now.
Because I know that your first movie was experimental fiction.
Exactly, and I still love that world, and I'm gonna still make fictional films, but I'm probably not gonna be as much of an experimental artist, because you know what? I fell in love with the mainstream. I fell in love with making sense, and I love the arts. But you exist in this world where if you don't make any sense, it's okay. And the only people that like what you do are other people in the arts, and I love the arts. I mean, actually, Israel has an amazing art museum. And I won't ever stop being a part of that world, but it's a very tiny group of people. And I just feel like there's more to the world than being in this teeny tiny artistic minority. And I think I existed in the arts because it was a safe space for me. I'm a weird person. I'm somebody that doesn't exist in the normal world. So I think I felt very safe and comfortable in a place where, you know, you don't have to follow rules. And that's what it is to be an artist.
Yeah, and you know, the mainstream, like especially in TV, like Fleabag and some Netflix, even Ryan Murphy, is the borders of storytelling become wider, and you can do very much edgy and unique stuff than regular cinema.
Exactly. And I'm glad you're saying that, because I grew up in LA. And I hated what came out of LA and Hollywood. I thought it was boring. I thought it was bullshit, straight, white storytelling. And I left LA because I thought I will never participate in this. Hollywood is stupid. That's why I left LA. And if you had told me when I was a teenager that I would see a show like Pose, oh my God, then I wouldn't have left LA. I might have stayed here. I might have thought, okay, cool. You know, the people that are coming up in the industry right now are people like Ava DuVernay, Barry Jenkins, Jill Soloway, Ryan Murphy. I mean, gay, non-binary Jill Soloway with a weird, crazy story about her transparent. You know, who would have thought that would have been a mainstream hit? Oh my God, this is a different moment for the industry, and that's where someone who's a weirdo like me can show up right now, and I love it. I totally love it, and so I'm so grateful and so glad that we have indigenous voices, Black voices, queer voices, women, that wasn't the case when I was, a kid in Hollywood. It was really boring, right? This town was just not producing content that represented any of us. Pose, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
We
Yair,
love
all right. Well, thank you all so very much.
Yes. Thank you for,
Thank you.
doing this.
And we totally will visit, right? Because
We
people
will
are
visit.
asking if Buck is going to come out, and
I
the
love
answer
Tel Aviv. I love the people there. Israel. It's such an amazing experience for me. I'll be back.
Yeah, me
Beautiful
too. And my
people.
parents actually love Israel too. It says this documentary was absolute medicine for the soul. To see such great content, I'm inspired. Well, thank you.
Right
Thank you to all the people who love this film, and to everyone who's sharing this movie and telling the world about it. You are sharing to the world a story that will help other filmmakers who are queer, who are not mainstream, get their films out. Netflix is listening. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Love you.
So thank you everyone for watching our discussion, and thank you for asking questions, and I hope to see you in TLVFest, in our film festival in Tel Aviv in November. I hope it will happen, and recommend people to watch Circus of Books. Bye-bye.